Hello, sports ballers, and welcome to your one-stop shop for all things Tennessee Pro Sports. I am Dylan Simmons, joined by Grant Langston and Katherine Gorbett. As Darrell Waltrip would say, boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys and girls. Now, this year's Daytona 500 was a wild one that got out of control at several points, much like the drivers with their cars. The Great American Race saw several crashes that took out contenders such as Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, and defending champion Brian Blaney. In the end, one more crash on the final lap sprung William Byron to his first 500 victory. Grant, what's your instant reaction to the finish?
Yeah, it looks like Chase Elliott just gets a little tap on the bumper there and everything from there goes haywire. It's kind of just like dominoes in the sport of NASCAR.
Yes.
If the front of the field has a problem, the rest of you are also probably going to have a problem, and that's exactly what we saw here, chaos at the end, and it led to quite an exciting finish and a nice win for William Byron.
Yeah, it was a wild race from start to finish, and I will say that it was kind of a wreck fest towards the end, but you get that with all restrictor plate races at this point. What was really interesting to me was the way the race swung back and forth. A lot of 2 and 3 wide action. I thought the racing overall was pretty solid, and that's what you like to see at Daytona, is competitive back and forth racing. So it was good to see that, and I will say, very impressed by William Byron. This guy has shown a lot of promise over the last year. He just picked up his 11th career win, and he's got a chance here to make a run at the championship if he plays his cards right. I think we've seen it before with like Jimmy Johnson. He won the 06 500, goes on to win the championship. Could we be seeing the same thing here for Byron? I think there's a great chance of doing it. It's a huge confidence boost for sure, and don't forget this is also the 40th anniversary of Hendrick Motorsports winning their first ever race, so it's also very special sentimental-wise for Hendrick Motorsports, a 1-2 finish, so Hendrick looking good in 2024.
Absolutely. William Byron won, and he was neck and neck with Alex Bowman for a while in the race. But I mean, with NASCAR, it is sort of just turn left and turn left.
Turn left, man, you are crushing the NASCAR soul inside of me. Hey, I'll let you know, people say they turn in circles. They actually race on ovals. Okay, I'm here to educate you on that. But I think that it's really interesting to see how they did at Daytona and how that will translate to the rest of the season, because Daytona is obviously a bit of a litmus test, but it doesn't truly encapsulate everything. If you're a driver and you didn't perform well at Daytona, Grant, there's still a lot of ground left to be covered, and really the restrictor plate races make up a small, teeny tiny fraction of the rest of the racing you'll see throughout the season.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've seen over the last few years some of the street tracks start to be introduced, like a Chicago or somewhere else, and so you definitely have those to look forward to. And granted, I grew up with a very similar viewpoint as Katherine. This is a lot of turning left. We're going left. We're going real left. But I've found it very interesting to see those cars, because those cars have not been typically meant for that type of street close quarters racing. It's particularly making a lot of different directional turns, which we've made a point they're not used to doing. So definitely a very intriguing season ahead of us.
I'll say this, if you haven't watched NASCAR in a while, you're a bit of a casual fan, then tune in this season, because there's a lot of interesting racing going on, a lot of different courses. You mentioned Chicago, they go to Sonoma now. I think there's 5 or 6 road courses, so the diversity in the lineup is very interesting, and they've even made Landon Motor Speedway into basically a super speedway. So it's at this point just about another restrictor plate race, and that makes it very, very fun to watch. NASCAR is back, baby, and I think everybody should make sure to tune in. Can't wait to see what happens in the rest of the season. But guys, Grizzlies, they cost people a lot of money by beating the Bucks in Milwaukee this past week. Despite Dame Time and Giannis dropping an incredible 59 points, Milwaukee was still unable to overcome a Grizzlies team missing several key pieces. Now, what allowed the Grizzlies to turn the Bucks into dinner, Grant?
Well, you mentioned their injuries. They didn't have guys like Jaren Jackson or Derrick Rose or Ja or any of these. I mean, they're just littered with injuries right now. And they were able to pull off the victory against Giannis's Bucks.
Yes.
Now it was a complete team effort. They were able to play some great defense. They were able to get some key turnovers and just capitalize on what the Bucks weren't executing on that night.
Yeah, I think this is a really good display of the problems that Milwaukee has right now. Now, they should be scared. And I'm a Celtics fan, so I am easy to admit that I'm not the biggest Bucks fan in the world, but the Doc Rivers experiment to me is not working. They're 3-7 since Doc came in. They were 32-14 before Doc emerged as the head coach, so there's definitely a problem right now. Now, Memphis didn't have a couple of their best players. No Jaren Jackson Jr., no Ja Morant, and still you got players like Zaire Williams, G.G. Jackson II, 27 points each, and you're telling me you gave that up to the Grizzlies? To me, this loss is more on the Bucks than anybody else. It's more about the Bucks losing than the Grizzlies winning. That's the way that I see it in this situation. And there's a big problem with Milwaukee right now. But if you are the Grizzlies, there's a chance to boost some confidence off of this. You've got a big win over one of the top teams in the East, and maybe now you've got a direction at least to move forward in.
Absolutely. Like I said last week, I didn't have it that the Grizzlies were going to win just based off of their track record. But they did. I do agree with your point that it's more about the other team losing rather than the Grizzlies winning, but hopefully this does give them some confidence and put them maybe potentially onto a winning streak.
And do you think that the energy in Memphis is going to pick up after a win like this? Because when you beat a team like the Bucks, that certainly instills some confidence, and you kind of knowing the Memphis area, that's certainly got to help.
Absolutely. I mean, when a team is kind of like notorious for being kind of the underdog, whenever you get a win, even if you're not like a big fan, you know, you still have that city pride going on.
Yeah.
So I think Memphis will be excited.
Yeah, Memphis should be excited, I think. The Grizzlies are certainly a young team, and there's still a lot that needs to be worked on, but a win like this, it can definitely help things going on down the line. We'll see how it all works out. But Grant, any final thoughts on this Grizzlies team right now?
No, yeah, you made a great point about this being a very young team with all the injuries that they have at the moment. I think the rest of this season will just prove a very nice opportunity for all of those young fellas to get some experience in the NBA and also kind of build on what this team can be for the future.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I think the Grizzlies' depth showed that what they can do when they're clicking. When they're clicking and when they're in sync, this team certainly has a lot of talent that they can use in their own way. But Milwaukee, they've got to get something figured out. You've got Dame and you've got Giannis. But who's the rest of your team? Where's the other part of the team? I don't think that the depth matches up to the depth of teams like the Celtics or the 76ers. That's a big problem, and it's going to cost them potentially come playoff time. So could be a big issue coming up in Milwaukee. But the Bucks might need to file for bankruptcy. Still to come, when we come back, we'll be talking about the Preds making St. Louis sing the blues and Middle Tennessee baseball hitting a strike against Bowling Green. All of that and more when we come back on Sportsballin.
The stars come to Middle Tennessee State University, and students come here to become stars no matter what they pursue. We're the only college of media and entertainment in the world, just outside the heart of Nashville.
Look, mic check 1 2, everybody listen. When you do it like this, ain't no competition. I'm talking B.I.G., VIP. Treat them like a front row seat and make them pay attention. If I shoot for the 3, then I ain't never missing. Cranking up the degrees like I was in the kitchen. Can't lose, got too much to prove. And when you do it all, it get too hard to do it.
Our curriculum and facilities are cutting edge, and our relationships with industry leaders give students an edge over the competition.
Check it out.
You can get real-world experience with degrees in recording industry, media arts, journalism and strategic media, and more. Media and entertainment at Middle Tennessee State University. Learn to shine.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent hurricane, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
A smile. It can show how we feel. It can change the course of our lives. But what would life be like if you weren't able to smile? It doesn't have to be this way. Since 1999, Smile Train has been helping children experience the simple joy of a smile. To learn more, call or go online now.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Letting my friends online know I was quitting kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it. You can too.
For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
Welcome back here on Sportsballin. Now, the Predators found domination against the St. Louis Blues in their past game with a 3-goal third period on their way to a win. Nashville now stands at 28-25-2 and are trying to keep pace in the Western Conference standings for a potential playoff spot. Grant, in your opinion, what does this win do for Nashville's confidence?
Well, it can't do anything but boost it, especially given the results of their previous 2 games. The Preds have played 3 games since we were here last week, and they lost 2 of them, and I'm not letting them off the hook for it one bit. 9-2 loss to the Stars is downright unacceptable and demoralizing. But I can't complain about beating the Blues. I don't like St. Louis. They're a big Western Conference rival, and it definitely helps their slim playoff chances as they're going forward.
Yes, I think it does. And I'll say this, like you mentioned, the Preds needed this win like a ski resort needs snow, okay? They really needed this thing badly. And after you just got smacked by the New Jersey Devils and you lost 9-2 to the Dallas Stars, it had looked bad. But they found a way to get something going here. Nobody had a multi-goal game, but they spread the puck around really well. The offense was clicking. And you say Soros, he had, 36 of 38 goals saved. Absolutely incredible in this game. A .946 save percentage is nothing to sneeze at. Now, what really stuck out to me was that 3-goal third period. This team turned it on late. That's what you need to be successful in those pivotal moments, and especially as a young team, that's where you start to get some of that chemistry rolling. If you're coming up clutch in the end, it's a huge thing, Katherine.
Absolutely. As I said last week, I thought they would win, and however, they didn't win every game that they played this week. They did win over the Blues, 5-2, so I am proud of them for that, and I hope they continue to do better to get into the playoffs.
I think there's a great chance if they keep it rolling. Now, obviously, like Grant mentioned, it's slim. It's going to be hard. Grant, do you think there's a path for Nashville in an obvious way, or is it going to be a lot tougher to get here?
I think it's going to be tough if they keep playing the way that they're playing. I think they've relied on their stars, particularly Forsberg, who had a goal and an assist in that game against the Blues, as well as Roman Josi, the captain, who leads the team in assists again this year. They can't, those guys have shown that they can score and they can get to the puck to the other guys who can, but you can't rely on that line to carry you into the playoffs, much less deep into the playoffs once you get there. So I think they're going to have to really start shaping up on all lines going forward if they want any chance at getting to this postseason.
Should be fun to see how that depth performs. But guys, Middle Tennessee began the 2024 baseball season with a series win over the Bowling Green Falcons in incredible fashion. Middle was led by solid batting from Briggs Rudder and Luke Vincent and some pretty good pitching displays as well. Now, Grant, we both called games this weekend. What's your take on the Blue Raiders' performance?
I was impressed with how they hit the ball. I will start off with that. They had 21 hits in the game on Friday. That got it done. Every time they, scratched across a few runs, Bowling Green would get back into it, but they never let up at the plate. They never quit hitting the ball. And I think that's going to be what's going to carry them here in this early season. A little bit of struggles trying to find a groove pitching-wise, but other than that, I think the team looks good.
Yeah, now I'm going to keep this brief, but what I will say is that, man, they did an incredible job, especially on Friday. 21 hits. That's the most since 2017 against, ironically, Bowling Green. So incredible job by them. I'll tell you what, this is a team that batting-wise looks as good as possible. Pitching-wise, a few things to clean up, but they certainly have a lot of potential. It'll come down to whether or not they can put it together in the future. Big test on Tuesday against Alabama especially. But, guys, the Raiders are showing the world that they have more heart than Valentine's Day. It is truly something to see. When we come back, we will get those thermometers rising with our hot takes of the week. Stick around on Sportsballin.
Serving the nation's poor and vulnerable regardless of faith, and advocating on their behalf, we are Catholic Charities.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Miss Lee, this is Agent Williams from the tax office. Our records show an unpaid balance on your account. If you don't pay by end of day, you'll be facing jail time. Well, the fastest way to fix this is with a prepaid debit card. Can you go get one now? Yes, and we want to clear this up. If you just buy that prepaid card, put $400 on it, then call me back and read the numbers to me.
The moment they ask for a prepaid card is the moment you know something's wrong. Think before you send money. Learn more at scamawareness.org.
It started with the original care package, and millions more like it. Passed from hand to hand, across land and sea, to help survivors in the aftermath of war. As we grew, we found better ways to help those in need. Ways to make a real difference, not just today, but tomorrow as well. Be the difference in people's lives. Help deliver lasting change at care.org.
Some places have the power to transform us, connect us, move us. This is the power of place, the power of parks and open spaces to improve cities, communities, and ourselves. This is the work of the Trust for Public Land, putting open space within reach of every person in America. Help us create the power of place and healthier, happier communities nationwide.
Time to electrify like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for our hot takes of the week. Are you ready? It doesn't matter if you're ready. Now, Grant, what's your hot take?
Well, I'm going to start us off with baseball because pitchers and catchers reported to spring training last week, and I'm a big Braves fan. So Braves country, hang with me. But I think Chris Sale is going to be a big piece of this Braves starting rotation in 2024. I think he's going to make over 15 starts for the team. The Red Sox basically are paying for him to play here this year.
Yeah.
So what can I say? I mean, maybe it's cautiously optimistic. Maybe I just have high hopes that the rest that he's gotten in the offseason will lead to bigger and better things for Sale. But we could always, who couldn't use a strong lefty with a power slider in your lineup? And the Braves got that. So that's where my head's at.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's a very solid pitcher, and you look at what he did last year, 6-5, a 4.30 ERA, so he's not the worst pitcher in the world. He's got some ability. We've seen it in the past. The guy has a heck of a slider, as you mentioned, and with the Braves, we've seen pitchers arise and be pretty good with time. I mean, heck, look at Spencer Strider. So if you want an example of good Braves pitching, I think if you put him in the system, give him enough time, and let him develop some stuff, he could be pretty solid with this Braves team. A lot of good things to be seen with this guy, so I kind of like it. And as a fellow Braves fan, I will absolutely deal with this hopium. I will take it and I will run with it because I want the Braves to win this thing and go all the way. I think he could be a huge piece to that. We can't lose to the Phillies yet again. That's the biggest thing. If we lose to the Phillies yet again, I'm gonna be real sad. So let's not do that. That's the biggest thing for me. I think he's definitely got a good future though. I'm gonna move on to the next hot take. Katherine, what do you got for us?
Okay, my hot take, and bear with me, F1 fans. I believe that Logan Sargent will bring the Williams F1 racing team to the podium.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Now hear me out, okay? While yes, Sargent was placing last overall in the ranking, Williams was placing about 7th. So if you average like them doing well as a team overall, getting in the mid-range, I think if they really clutch up, specifically Sargent, I don't know. I feel like he can get to at least 3rd place this season.
Man, 3rd place. Grant, go ahead.
We were just talking about hopium, and this is to the max. I think it is quite a stretch to believe that William Sargent's going to get on the podium for Williams this year. I will say though, I don't think it's a stretch to say that he'll finish better than 17th, or that the Williams car may finish above 7th in the constructors. Yes. I just don't think it's so hard to score points with there being so many good cars right now and with the field being so close together, even though we see all the stuff about Max pulling away at the front. For the majority of the rest of the drivers, the gaps are pretty small. I just don't think Logan Sargent's going to have what it takes to get it done this year.
I have a hard time having faith in a guy whose best finish last year was 10th, and his best starting grid position was 6th. To me, it's going to take a Herculean effort for this guy to reach that next level. I just don't see it right now. To me, it's going to take a miracle for him to get this podium. Now, could it happen? Absolutely. But he's going to have a lot of things go his way. It'll have to be, I think, kind of a chaotic race, maybe take out a few cars. something insane happens, like there was that one Grand Prix where like a lot of cars, got in the rain and crashed. Something like that could happen. But I don't see it right now with Logan Sargent, although I would love to be proven wrong. I mean, I'm pulling for him, and I hope it works out. But right now, just don't see it. But moving on to my hot take, here's what I will say. College football will soon be on the decline, and I think I've been feeling this way for a long time. And to me, it comes down to a few things. It's the fact that college football is rapidly changing. And I've spoke about it before on different shows, but we're on the precipice of seeing something truly catastrophic for the sport of college football. I still love the sport, but these changes are putting it in an entirely different direction. Now, I'm going to compare this to NASCAR because we've got a motorsport that was once nearly as big as the NFL, right? It was at the top. But what happened? They made consistent changes over and over. They messed with the playoff format, they changed the rules on a whim, and they had plenty of inconsistencies, and the sport has been on a big decline ever since. And I love NASCAR, but that's the truth. Now look at college football. We see rules changing, they're messing with the playoff format, players are going wherever they choose. To me, it's not the direction I want to see the sport go in. I'm not against a new era, but you're taking away the spirit of the sport, in my opinion. And a lot of the great rivalries from the past, we'll never see those again. No more Oregon State potentially. No more Oklahoma State. No Bedlam? No Bedlam? What are we kidding ourselves? I think it's a bad look for the sport.
I will kind of agree with you on college football being on the decline with the changes that Bama. I'm personally an Alabama fan. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. I am. But with taking Nick Saban out of coaching and a lot of the players accepting offers elsewhere, I'm curious to see how Bama will do this upcoming season. And I mean, I know a lot of people do root for them.
And you've dealt with that too, because Kalen DeBoer is your new head coach, and Saban left, and you almost wonder if he left potentially because of all the changes. Mm-hmm. Something to definitely consider.
Well, to that point, Dylan, that's kind of what I was going to bring up, is the fact that you have college coaches, whether that be position coaches, head coaches, coordinators, leaving these schools in droves because they want to be coaches. They don't want to have to be recruiters year after year after year. And up until recently, once you had a kid recruited, it was kind of understood that he was going to be there to play football for his college career. Now, I'm not saying that we've never seen transfers happen before, but there used to be a process you had to go through. And like you said, the coaches don't want to have to try to rope these kids back in every year because they're going to be getting a better offer somewhere else. I will go as far as to say that your take isn't even a hot take. Because I agree with you. I've been on this fence. I've been fighting this good fight for a while now. I'd say at least 4 or 5 years. Because I completely agree. Yeah. I think athletes should make money, but the way that the NIL was implemented was not smart, and it's kind of blown up in the NCAA's face. I completely agree with your take there.
I mean, you almost wonder how much longer the NCAA has, because we've been seeing teams consistently challenge the NCAA. Tennessee, the Vols are in a huge war with the NCAA right now, a war of words. And look, I'm all for the new conferences and new eras, but we had to get rid of the Pac-12. I mean, come on, that is a conference with over 100 years of history, so much behind it, so many great memories, so many great players, and you're just going to get rid of that for a new era? That doesn't seem right to me. Something about that just seems downright ridiculous. And 18 teams to a conference? Do we really need that many teams? I mean, at that point, why not have them play for their own national championship? And that could be the direction that we're heading. There's been rumors of the Big Ten and SEC aligning and creating their own league. I hope that's not where we're going. But, this is what college football is now. It's NFL light. That's what it's become. And I don't think that's what the hardcore fans want. It's certainly not what I want. It's making me as nervous and as worried as a guy who showed up late for his wedding, okay? That's what I'm at right now. And I don't want it to go any further, but there's a big concern in my heart, Grant, and I just don't know how much longer it's going to last.
I don't either. I mean, I've probably in the minority here, but I have not expressed very much interest in the 12-team playoff, so obviously that's on the horizon. And although I will say it is exciting to think about a playoff-type environment of a football game being on a college campus.
Yeah.
Does it matter if it's a 2 or 3 loss team? Like,
doesn't have the same magic to it, in my
Exactly.
opinion. Yeah,
exactly.
I just don't see it. So college football might be in a tough spot, but I will say this. Hot takes of the week, they're like Stephen Curry. They never miss. When we come back, we've got to make a tougher decision than left or right Twix. It's our picks of the week when we return on Sportsballin.
Can you see me? Because I feel like I'm invisible. Like if it weren't for the news, no one would think of this place. But here we have bright spirits and vivid dreams. If only the world could see.
I believe in you. Just 4 simple words. But to a child in need, they mean the world. When you support a child through Save the Children, you're saying, I believe in you. You're worthy of good nutrition, quality healthcare, and education. I believe in you. Just 4 simple words that can bring hope, that can change a life. Visit sponsor.savethechildren.org/believe today and tell a child in need, I believe in you.
A smile. It can show how we feel. It can change the course of our lives. But what would life be like if you weren't able to smile? It doesn't have to be this way. Since 1999, Smile Train has been helping children experience the simple joy of a smile. To learn more, call or go online now.
The stars come to Middle Tennessee State University, and students come here to become stars, no matter what they pursue. We're the only college of media and entertainment in the world, just outside the heart of Nashville.
Mic check 1, 2, everybody listen. When you do it like this, ain't no competition. I'm talking B.I.G., VIP. Treat them like a front row seat and make them pay attention. If I shoot for the 3, then I ain't never missing. Cranking up the degrees like I was in the kitchen. Can't lose, got too much to prove. And when you do it all, it get too hard to do it.
Our curriculum and facilities are cutting edge, and our relationships with industry leaders give students an edge over the competition. Check it out! You can get real-world experience with degrees in recording industry, media arts, journalism and strategic media, and more. Media and entertainment at Middle Tennessee State University.
Welcome back to Sportsballin. It's now time for our picks of the week. First up, we've got the Nashville Predators versus the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Vegas Golden Knights, tonight at 7, guys.
Yeah, I can't in good conscience pick the Preds after the week that they've showed me. I know that they just got that win against the Blues, but they just have not been a consistent enough squad to prove to me that they're going to get the win against one of hockey's best teams right now.
Absolutely. I'm going to side with Grant on that one. The Preds, I'd like for them to win. I'm rooting, but 1 out of 3 games winning this past week.
Vegas is a really darn good team, so much talent all across that. I think guys like Pietrangelo, they're going to be hard to stop. Give me Vegas in this one, as tough as that is to say. And finally, the Grizzlies versus the Clippers, Friday at 7.
Yeah, I'm, again, got to go away from the Tennessee teams here. The Grizzlies almost kind of feel like the little engine that could. A lot of young players getting some playing time right now, but they're not going to be able to get it done against the Clippers. James Harden, too much star power out in L.A. for the Grizzlies this time.
I'll take the opposing stance. Maybe they're going to lock in.
Oh, wow, okay.
We'll see next week, but I think they're going to lock in.
Oh, interesting. All right, I like the confidence, but the Clippers, they've got Kawhi, my guy Kawhi Leonard. I believe in Kawhi, and I think the Clippers are legit championship contenders this year. I know they failed in the past, but they're going to be a good team. I think the Clippers get it done pretty easily against the Grizzlies. But, guys, we've got to shut it down today, but don't worry. Like the McRib, we always return. Remember to tune in every week right here on Blue Raider Television to catch new episodes. For Grant Langston and Katherine Gorbett, I'm Dylan Simmons saying so long, and remember to always have an electric night.